And thank you, Arkansas, for forgiving me my past. You know, during Teresa's speech, I was thinking about him, and you all know that he never inhaled, right? And now, because he wants to reduce carbon emissions, the poor man can't exhale. So he's in some kind of hurt. When I worked with him, I was a conservative Democrat. I was a Democrat that believed in balancing the budget, which President Clinton did. I believed in reforming welfare, which President Clinton did. I believed in the federal death penalty, which President Clinton passed. I believed in extra police that lowered the crime rate that President Clinton did. But right now, there is no such thing as a conservative Democrat. We are extinct. You're looking at a dodo bird. Not even a snail darter. They have a fighting chance. I mean a dodo bird. When we passed welfare reform in the Congress, there were 99 House Democrats that voted yes, and 99 that voted no. Back in those era, 10 years ago, there was a difference between the wings of the political party. But now there is none. Either you are a Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid Democrat, or you're a Republican. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm a Republican. It's what Ronald Reagan said. He said, I never left the Democratic Party. It left me. And I was asked by a reporter yesterday why that happened, how it happened that the parties became so polarized, and to be a Democrat you had to have this ultra-liberal line. They need 60 votes, they get 60 votes. They need 216, they get 216. They need every Democrat, they need all 258, they get all 258. Why? There are two reasons. The first is that they gerrymandered the districts for the House members so that you're either in a safe Republican seat or a safe Democratic seat. In California, the Democrats and the Republicans sat down and worked out a deal where basically no congressman from either party is ever at risk of losing a general election. So right now there are 54 congressmen from California. There's exactly one seat in play in 2010. But when you have that situation and you're a Democrat and your district is crammed to the gills with Democrats, you have a risk of a primary fight, of an ultra-liberal coming along and challenging you. Just like the one that's challenging Blanche Lincoln in May. But we know that whether he wins or whether Lincoln wins that primary, they are not going to win the November election. And that's because we understand what happened when Blanche Lincoln voted for that health care bill. When 65% of Arkansas said, don't. We know what happened when Blanche Lincoln voted for a $1.3 trillion deficit when 2/3 of Arkansas said, don't. We know what's happening right now when Blanche Lincoln is supporting the financial regulation bill that permits Obama to take over any bank in the country that he wants, fire the management, fire the board of directors, sell off the company, and wipe out the shareholder value. And she's going to vote for that even though Arkansas is saying no. So now I think it's time to turn the tables on Mrs. Lincoln and tell her no. No. Bye-bye, Blanche. Now let me tell you what's going on in Washington. When Barack Obama became president, his goal was to expand the size of the federal government. A lot of people say, is he a socialist or isn't he? And I point out in my book that socialism is not an epithet, it's a statistic. It relates to the percent of the economy controlled by the government. And when Obama took office, it was 28% controlled by the state, federal, or local government. And right now it is 36%, and if his health care bill takes full effect, it's going to be 41%. And Britain is 41, and France is 46, and Germany is 48, and Sweden is 54. So he's getting us right up there with all of the socialist countries. But when he took office, he couldn't take his hand off the Bible and say, you know, I'm not going to support, I want to support bigger government, so I'm going to raise taxes. He couldn't say that. First, politically, he couldn't say it, and secondly, we're in the middle of a horrible recession. But what he did say is, I'm going to increase spending. And what that meant is, I'm going to increase the deficit. And what that means is, there are two alternatives when the new Congress meets in 2011. Lower the spending or raise the taxes. The country cannot survive with a $1.3 trillion deficit. Everybody knows it. The question is, which course of action are you going to take? Or are you going to do the cop-out that George Bush 41 did, which is to do a little bit of each? And Obama is hoping that the Republican Party goes for the cop-out, that they go for a half and half. And half is okay in your coffee, but it's not very good in your budget. Because what happens is that the half, which is the increased taxes, slows the economy down, creates unemployment, dries up investment, and depresses revenues. And then you find you have to raise taxes even more. There is only one tax that actually produces revenue, stimulates the economy, and doesn't hurt employment. In fact, helps employment. And that is a tax cut. Now I knocked the Father, let me praise the Son. The Holy Spirit I'll leave to the minister. But George Bush 43 cut taxes on everybody, but especially on the top 1% of the country. And after he did that, their tax payments rose by $100 billion a year for 10 years. Their share of total national tax payments rose from 37 up to 40%. Wait a minute, rose? Didn't I say he cut the rate? Yeah, he did. But that cut in rates generated so much extra revenue that it really reduced the federal deficit. And I remember sitting in the Oval Office with Clinton, going through line by line of the federal budget to prepare for our negotiations with Gingrich and Lott. And we would go over every line and agonize about it, and finally we worked out an 8-year deal where if we held the spending in check, we could balance the budget by 2005. And then Gingrich came in and he said, hey, I want to cut the capital gains tax from 28 to 20. And Clinton went along with her. There was this lady who didn't agree, but he ran right over her. And he approved that capital gains tax cut. And because of that tax cut, we got so much extra revenue, so much money flowed into the system. It flooded us, and we balanced that budget in 18 months. Not 2005, it was balanced in 1998 because of a tax cut. Now, the problem is that all of the good ladies and gentlemen that are running for the Republican nomination in your primary coming up in May are all criticizing what Obama is doing. But the key question for them is, will they commit, in blood if you can, sign the pledge to not raise taxes during the next 2 years.